All right, guys, this is Colt. I'm here with my seam ripper. So, when you're doing seam ripping, you want to get yourself a Dr. Pepper, a seam ripper, and get after it. So, seam ripping is pretty easy. You got the little red dot on this, then you got the hook. It's got to come in and just gently pull it off like that, get it going. Then you can turn around, make sure that your seams are apart. You have to splay them apart because there's no glue. Just get them going once. Then you can take it like this, okay? Be careful and go slow. See how that pops out? You can run it. But you can cut off into that sew allowance and mess up your pattern, because right now we want this for patterns. So, as you take these apart, be mindful of them, because this is how they go back together. You're going to understand this more. This is an actual, this is very important. You're going to see how this goes back together. So you see these big panels? 1 and 2 are the biggest ones we have, okay? So what's the other big panel? 3. So let's just look at 3 like it's 4 and 5, okay? This is the key right here. We got 3 pieces that are sewn together, but they're a big panel, okay? And then we have 6, which is another big panel. So yes, I did label them 4 and 5. But 1, 2, 3, and 6 are actually, in my eyes, one piece. Okay? And then 7, 16, 8, 9, 10, 13, 12, and 14 and 15. Those all go on the end caps. You sew those together separately. That's what eliminates all of this. That's when people, they see all these pieces, but they don't go together like you would think they do. Okay, you sew main beams is what I like to call them. So when you tear it apart, I'm starting on the edge of 2 main panels. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 main panels. So I'm not going to worry about this right away. I'm going to show you what I mean. We're going to come in here and we're going to take, and if you have to, most of the time you're going to have to cut away at it like that. You're not going to be able to just run it. You'll get lucky once in a while, but no. Sometimes, you know, you got back tacks, and you gotta chip away at it like that. Okay? So take your time and take away the main beams. You are going to be ecstatic when you see what I'm talking about here real soon. I don't know if you just tore into it and just started tearing it apart willy-nilly. Don't do it like that. I mean, of course you have to tear it all apart, but in the inception here, we want to get the main beams off, these big chunks. That's actually a better way to put it, big chunks. And then, okay, we sewed on, our anchors are sewn on here, so these are going to be kind of a bear to get off. And you don't want to try to push it. If you are accomplished enough, like I normally, what I would do is just add a 1/2 inch to the pattern. I would just take this and just cut this. I would cut it. I would just run it and cut it. And every piece, every pattern is a 1/2 inch short. And I just add it. I just take my pin and just put my edge of my hand in. But you're not there yet. You're not there yet. So what we're doing is we're tearing this thing apart together. So, you know, I'm just, I'm not pushing. And you're going to cut it here and there. you know, don't sit there and try to meticulously do it perfect. Just stab that sucker in there and just keep rolling. Keep rolling. Okay. There we go. You can try once in a while to see if it'll work. Oh, there we go. We got a good push there. But for the most, you know, you got to hold one side down. So seam ripping, and then they're glued together, and you know, because this is factory, this has been the same way. So I just stab and pull, stab and pull, stab and pull, stab and pull, and then go back once in a while just to see where I'm at. See if I get lucky. But basically, on a factory piece like this, you're not going to get lucky. Tearing these things apart takes a minute. So, as I punch through, there's a little cut mark on there, but it doesn't matter. You're taking it apart. Just don't destroy it. All right, you see that? Good to go. Get in where you fit in. If you gotta turn the piece like this, which is, you know, be comfortable. I got me a little saddle chair. I'm sitting down. Got my elbow on this piece. I can splay it out and just go chip, chip, chip. And then it'll all make sense later. Because this is how you're gonna photograph these three main beams. And then you're gonna put it together the same way, to where you just sew these little pieces together and then sew the big pieces together, and it's not like it's all sewn together and you're trying to do an end cap and work the whole piece. All of this is sewn together and you're trying to do an end. Don't do it that way. Do it like I'm gonna show you. And it'll go together like nothing, and you're not fighting your fabric. It's a big deal what you can get under your machine. That's another story here in a minute. Depends on how long your neck is. You know, not everybody has a 23-inch or, you know, or an 18-inch or a 32-inch long arm sewing machine. Where it ain't no big deal. You can stuff all kinds of fabric under those. You know, I'm gonna get one, but I'm not sure. The one I want's like $9,800. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a lot of cake. So, once I get this piece, this first push off, I won't kill you with doing the rest of it, but you got to endure this, okay? Just endure this, and then once I'm done with this, then you'll see what I mean by main beams. That's what I call them, you know. It's just a bunch of parts sewn together. And as you can see, you see where this piece, number 3, meets number 2. There's a witness mark. There's a little wedge. Witness marks are your friends. It's just, I like seeing this. That shows me, I mean, and it's right on the money. It's right on that, not the top stitch, the first, you know, merger, the first half-inch sew allowance meets perfectly with that sew allowance. It's like my buddy Ron Pearson and his papa always used to instill in all their students and all their friends, witness marks are your friends. I think it's kind of a funny little thing, but it's so true. It's just insane. So true. Witness marks are your friends. So yeah, that's why you label everything out. Yeah. So I'm almost done here. Taking off this first portion. And normally, you know, it's going to come apart a little easier because of the fact that, oh, come on, I had it just fine before I went messing around. Okay. There, we're there. You don't want to take that off. Oh, I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Let me get this back on track here. There we go. So now we'll get back on what we're doing here. We'll come out here. That's what confused me. We got a little dog ear here, but we'll get this fixed real quick. Yeah, you know, and then when you do that, you break the, you can give it a pull and it'll give you a free 1/2 inch or an inch sometimes. Okay, and then when all these pieces meet, that's when you got to take your time, because you'll see how, we'll discuss all of this later when we sew this together. If you have the patience to watch what's coming next, how they fold over, how they sew over, and then and on the opposite side of things, how it looks to the eye, are key. But don't be dissuaded by the complexity of these things. If you have basic sewing skills and you watch this video, I will walk you through it. Okay, so here is that's what remains. So as you can see, it's quite different. The left and the right, because of the dog ears on this side. That's why it's different. But okay, so here's your anchor, and again, it's sewn on there like nobody's business. So your anchor, just throw it away. You don't need to mess with that. So here's the bottom piece, okay? This is one whole piece, all right? And then this is 2 pieces. But you see, once we sew that one piece onto this middle piece, okay, and it's gonna be, once I seam rip this and lay it open, you'll see it a little better, but there, you get your main beams done, and then each main beam individually, 1, 2, and 3, you sew on the end caps, and then you sew them all together, and it just goes smooth. You're not fighting a bunch of stuff. As you can see right here, okay, this piece, we got one little dog ear here. You see that one little dog ear? Okay, that sews on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, okay? One big piece, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little pieces. Yeah. So you start with your big piece always, and then you're you know, as it goes, the bigger, and then to the smaller. So we do these 3 pieces first onto this piece, all right? And then this little dog ear, we sew that on, and then the smaller pieces as we go, okay? However, if you'll notice, there's a top stitch on everything here. This changes things, all right? So there is a way to do that as well. So if you look at it from this side, there is no top stitches on these little dog ears on the edge. You know why? Because you don't do that. Main beams, again, different premise main beams. This is top stitch main beams. This isn't this as a main beam. This is the center of the field, you always top stitch. The end caps, leave them be. You don't do that. They're not seen, and it can tax them and cause them to tear and fail you. Little things like this, I know it's a lot. Watch that last portion a few times. But so before we sew these end caps on, what do? We sew 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. Okay. How does that top stitch look to you? Remember when I said everything overlaps? So do we sew them together like What do you think we sew first? This is good stuff. What we do is we do our main panel first, okay? Then we do our top stitches on these, and then we do the last big run. That's how you do it, because it's all hidden, okay? These three pieces go together first. Boom, boom, top stitch, top stitch. This and these three pieces sew together secondly, and then top stitch across the top. I'll show you what I mean. So everything's hidden, everything's folded over. You don't know where it starts, you don't know where it ends. But, so that's how it works. So this one, we will photograph this one. This is what I would encourage you to do. And then this one, the second one, as we tear this apart, we photograph this one. The third one, we photograph that one. All right? So I'm not going to kill you with seam ripping. But as we put it together, I'm going to... that right there was key to tell you how the three small pieces, you sew them together, then you top stitch them. And then make sure your top stitches follow one another. If you're top stitching from the left, make sure that the whole piece is done that way. Don't go from left to right. It's going to look hokey. Okay, so that's this video. I know it's a lot. Bear with me. You're going to see. Once we start sewing, it'll make more sense, because I will watch these videos again and go, okay, I have to really push this part here. And that's the top stitching. You know, however you fold that sew allowance underneath, you're to your left. If you fold it to the other way, you're to your right. But you have to be continuous, okay? It has to flow. It has to be a symbiont aesthetic. Your eyeballs, if it's left and right, it's going to look hokey. All right, so I'm Colt from Spit and Tex Upholstery. Peace be with you. Rock and roll. There we go.